And we're live, I think.
Yes, you just popped up on mine.
Yay!
Hey, everybody!
There we go.
Did you pop out the chat yet?
Yes, I always forget to do that. Wait. It's funny how you can forget this every time.
I literally, as I was getting ready for this live show, I was watching our old live show, and I was like laughing at how much we struggle bus with this every month. It's pretty bad.
Aww.
We need to like write a tutorial for us just to follow, so we're not like 5 minutes trying to figure out how to do this again.
I know. I forget every time. Do we have anyone with us? Three watching. Awesome. That doesn't include us, right?
I believe it does.
It does include us?
I think so. Haley has a funeral today that she said that she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to make it, but she was going to try.
Okay. That's awful.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi. If you hear whimpering, that's Zara.
We're a little pumpkin in a cone.
Yeah. Poor thing. Okay. Do we want to see if a couple of other people join, or do we want to get started?
I'm tweeting out right now that we are live streaming.
I'm excited to talk about this book.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Me too.
Do we want to talk about what the next month's Muggle Studies pick is right now and then do it again at the end?
Yeah, definitely.
So we have decided to do A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. And this is like a reverse Sherlock Holmes, so it's a gender-swapped Sherlock Holmes vibe, and sounds like it's got Stalking Jack the Ripper vibes too, which I'm very excited about. This one's been on my shelf for quite some time, and I'm excited. There's a lot of hype that's around this for me.
Apparently it's a lot like the Diviners too, is what I read, which I love. You haven't read the Diviners though, right? Have you?
I haven't. So I wonder what that means.
Like it.
I wonder if that means like it's a like period piece or what.
I don't know, maybe historical fiction?
Yeah.
Well, I guess Stalking Jack the Ripper is historical fiction too.
Edge of the seat suspense. I'm actually surprisingly getting into like suspense books. Like the one I'm reading right now is like thriller-esque, but YA
Really?
thriller. And
Yeah.
I'm so surprised that I was into that. So that's been new.
What are you reading right now?
It's an arc for the cheerleaders. Of course, I don't have it next to me. It's been like attached to my side all day, and I don't have it next to me now.
That's all right.
Okay, so let's kick off into My Lady Jane. Do you want to say what your rating was?
Yeah, I ended up giving it, I think, a 4, maybe a 4.5. No, a 4. It's a solid 4 out of 5 stars. I'm
trying to remember because I'm so proud of myself that I did not procrastinate this book, so I actually read it at the beginning of the month.
Girl,
so,
I
yeah,
did 4
out of 5 stars.
Yeah, I was done with both Muggle Studies Book Club by like second week in July, sorry. I was like, what am I going to do with myself? Let's rewatch Riverdale.
Riverdale is always a good idea.
Okay, so do you want to, I guess I'll elaborate why. So what I loved most is I think I liked the beginning portion a little bit better than the end. The end was a little predictable, but I liked it because I think I would have been angry if it hadn't ended the way it did. So I kind of like, what?
Yep.
Yeah, so even though I predicted it, I'm glad that that's how it ended. I really like the magic aspect of it. That was one thing that was like starting to get super predictable. It was like, oh, now everyone's an Ethian, you know? So that I was like, I really like that aspect of it, but then it was kind of like it was no longer like a shocking factor towards the end of the book, like when spoilers, when Jane turned out to be Ethian. I was like, of course she is.
Yeah. I liked at the very, very end, the whole thing, like she's an ass. Like I like enjoyed that immensely.
She's a what?
That she's an ass. Like she's a donkey, like, or a horse's ass.
Oh no! Okay, that I wasn't expecting. I meant Jane.
Oh yeah, but I really enjoyed that part at the very end, and I was like, yes, she's a horse's ass, right? That's like
she's a donkey.
Is it? Is she?
That's a
either one. It was hilarious. So I loved that. That it was like everybody just burst out laughing. And I'm like, yes.
I thought that was really good too. Mm-hmm. And I loved how like Jane, they couldn't decide what she was, and they kept thinking she was a rat. I like that too.
And then she was upset that everybody thought she was a rat.
Yeah, I'd be too.
I know, right? So I know you don't have the hardcover, but I like that the hardcover kind of has a sneak peek of it's a horse.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so I like really enjoyed that was like a little sneak peek of G on here, and I was like, I appreciate that.
The prologue has it, a little horse.
Oh, I wonder if my prologue has it. I didn't even notice that. Oh, okay. It
does. I have to say, one of my favorite things though about this book is the narrators. I can't remember what it's called. Is it called like breaking the fifth wall or
fourth wall?
Breaking the fourth wall. But I love that. Every time they would just like pause, especially like towards the end where she like gets rope and they're like, we don't really know how she got rope.
Yes.
Like search throughout all the books in history, and we're just gonna have to come, you know, just like she got rope.
Yep. Just accept it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you should really read Deadpool because he breaks he's like the king of breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. I've started reading a lot more books like that, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, like reaching out to the reader.
Yeah, it gave me Nevernight vibes, but more young adult versus Nevernight was very
adult.
Yeah, it got really complex at times.
So I really liked the Ethian part of it as well, and I was not expecting that. Mm-hmm. And I like that we got the political aspect in the beginning of it, and I really liked that part of it. Mm-hmm. And we got to see. I didn't really care for the relationship drama between Edward and Jane. Did you get that? I have like a pet peeve of that though.
Yeah, I didn't like that as much either.
So I get it back in that time, like that probably would have been, it's a lot more common, and I think maybe that's why it was with that. And was it like that in real life? Like, because I know this is based off history, but obviously
I don't know about like England's, but Russia, yeah, that's why they had such terrible like blood issues, like hemophilia and everything, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like a lot of the czars in Russia, like the families would marry within each other to keep with
like a strong blood
pure. And so they would get a lot of the kids were sick because they were, you know, it was incest. But I don't think it was like, I think it was like cousins.
Yeah. So I don't like. So is Jane? Was Jane his cousin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't love that aspect of it, but I like that he was conflicted about like marrying off his. I wish it was like his childhood friend or something, but then it wouldn't make sense with the royalty aspect of it.
Yeah, they could have just gotten away with the whole like relationship, just kept it at like strictly, because in her eyes it was platonic, but in his eyes it wasn't at times.
Really? I got vibes that she thought it wasn't platonic at times.
Oh, really? I didn't get that at all. I got that she was always talking about like my best friend and my friend.
Well, she would say like, well, G would be talking and say like I could tell how much she loves him, and I took that as like also sharing those romantic vibes.
Possibly. Maybe they could have just like toned that down a little bit. But it could be, I mean, I'm not sure if like Time of Henry VIII where if they did that. But then it would be, I guess it would be keeping on with like accuracy of it.
Yeah. And because they like shared that part of it, it made it more realistic that he had such a hard time marrying her off. If they were just friends, it wouldn't be that big of a deal type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I get it.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character?
Oh, by far Jane. I loved her sass and like that she was like, I'm not taking any crap attitude. And I like loved that about her.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't expecting to get G's perspective. I thought that was very interesting. Like, I liked the synopsis because it gave you enough to like give you ideas, like kind of give you like, okay, cool. But there wasn't like, it didn't give you everything, you know? You know what I mean? Like, I hate that in like books where you find out like, okay, so like I think one book that in particular I think is like everyone knows obviously, but like Twilight, you read the synopsis and you know he's a vampire. But like in the book, you don't find out until like halfway through it. So it's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like when you first read it, so I like that. The synopsis gave you just enough like sneak peek into what it's about, but didn't really go into like the animal part of the magic. And we had no idea that we're getting 3 point of views. Stuff like that. So I really like that.
So the way that the like little snippet on here is
oh, yours is different than mine.
Oh, do you not have that in there?
No. Mm-mm. I have like a sentence synopsis.
Oh yeah, well okay, so you have the same back as mine.
Yes, that's it.
But okay, so on the inside of this, it does have a little thing about each character.
Oh.
But when I first looked at it, I thought he was a real horse. I didn't realize he was a person. So I was like, is this about a woman falling in love with a horse and then she's just a horse? Like, is this like bestiality book? I was very confused going into it.
Oh, I'd be so put off.
Well, I was like, what? So all it says is Gifford, and then it has call him G with a little arrow, and it says is a horse. That is, he's an Ethian. And then it tells you how to spell or say it for the uninitiated. Every day at dawn, he becomes a noble chestnut steed, but then he wakes at dusk with a mouthful of hay. It's very all undignified, and that's all you get. So I was like, is it what?
Okay. See, I didn't get that. I don't have that in the hardcover.
But that still doesn't give like anything away. It just gives you intrigue, and you're like,
I like that. See, I think that's important. I think like the synopsis that you put, I think that's really important. Sometimes they give you too much, or like sometimes you go into it and you're like, oh, like the night circus. That is like one of the worst synopses ever.
Agreed. What do we think about Edward's romantic interests?
I love her. I'm sorry, I take my mind. She's my favorite character.
She's your favorite?
Yeah, I loved her.
Okay, so why did you like her?
I don't know. I think it's because I love side characters. So I loved her sass. Her and Jane remind me a lot of each other. But but Jane would also be a little like she would do what she's told at times, you know? Whereas, oh, I'm forgetting her name. What's her name?
See, she was forgettable for me.
Yeah. Gracie. But like Gracie would not take anyone's crap, and I loved that. So her and Jane were my favorite characters.
I didn't dislike her, but she was just very forgettable for me, and I didn't remember her name. Like, I liked that we saw that she was like part of the pack, but I wanted more from her character, and I felt like she was very like D level character because we got to know like snippets of her, but we didn't get to know backstory of all that. So I didn't love her, but I didn't hate her. She just felt like they needed another person to marry people off to, type of thing.
Fair enough. I could see that.
I just wanted more from her. If I would have known more, I would have probably liked her more.
True, I could see that. I'm trying to
What
think.
animal would you be?
What? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. What animal would you be?
I would want to be a cat because my cats have like the easiest life.
Oh, is that your Patronus?
I don't know if that is my. I've taken it like several times, and I've gotten a cat before. But I also like want to claim like I would be a badger for Hufflepuff too. So I don't know. I don't know what I would be. Something that wouldn't have a lot of predators that I could be safe in.
Yeah, my Patronus is a bat.
Really?
Yeah.
I've not seen a bat Patronus before.
Yeah. Hi, Haley.
Hey, Haley. Do you like bats? Do you, like?
I think they're really cool. Yeah.
I mean, I do too. I think they're like adorable now that I've seen that little Facebook video of like puppies with wings type of thing. Like,
yeah.
Facebook video.
So I'd be a bat. I'm going to stick with my Patronus.
That's so like, wow. Now I want to retake my Patronus and see what it is.
Everyone who's watching, a gorilla. Okay, I was gonna say, let us know what your.
That's such a weird Patronus. What?
Yeah, let us know what your Patronus is, and let us know what animal you would want to turn into.
If you were an Ethian, would you want to be an Ethian or would you want to not be an Ethian?
I'd want to be an Ethian for sure.
Same. I mean, why wouldn't you? Like,
yeah.
Unless you couldn't control it.
Yeah, which I actually found really interesting. I liked how in G's perspective, it was a curse. And then in Jane's perspective, it was a gift. Like, would you consider it a curse or a gift?
I think a gift. I think it would be cool. It depends on how much it affects your life. So do we ever get down to that he could control it, like it's all in his head?
Yeah. I think it's because, like, that's what his parents have told him. And so, like, that's what he thought, you know?
That he couldn't control it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Haley, you'd want to be a horse?
Eat hay all day, just like Gifford.
Yeah, I think I'd want to be some kind of, like, flying animal.
See, and I would not want to be a bird.
No, not a bird.
No.
So we're going to stick with bat. A flying animal. We're so glad to have you.
I think I would be a cat. Like a big cat. Like I would want to be like a panther. Like someone like you would not mess with like big cat, like jungle cats.
Oh, or like a white Siberian tiger. Like a really like, or like a cheetah. I can see you be a cheetah because you have red hair.
And freckles. I've always associated myself with a cheetah because of my freckles. And then
you'd be a good cheetah. I like that.
And that way, as I'm like big enough that I don't like, I wouldn't have to worry too much about predators.
Yeah, you would be the like top.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know how that would work in like rural settings because if I couldn't control it, like in my head I couldn't control it, and I just like combust into a cheetah, that would not be good in front of all the people.
Yeah.
People call you Hey Hey.
So also, if y'all just joined, let us know what you ended up rating the book. I'm curious to see what everyone, because this has really high ratings on Goodreads. So I'm always curious about like what people think.
Are you guys planning on reading the second one?
Okay, so apparently they're not continuations. Like the second one is completely different.
I'm so unorganized this life.
Right? Like it's not like a series.
I don't think it's a series, but it is. Well, it's the Lady Janie's series, but I don't think you have to read one to read the other.
Right, exactly. But I don't even think they have like the same characters at all. Like I think they're completely separate.
No, I think it's separate. Yeah.
Yeah. So like for example, like Stephanie Perkins' French Kiss series or whatever. Like it's kind of within the same area.
Like their sister series.
Yeah. Okay. So My Plain Jane is based off of Jane Eyre retelling. And this was based off of like Henry VIII's time setting.
I'm sure I look like a crazy person just bending over, but I'm trying to find that book.
I might read it. Can't find it.
Yeah, I have no. Oh wait, there it is.
Okay, so Haley, you rated it a 4 out of 5. I think Hannah and I both rated it as well a 4 out of 5 stars.
So, My Plain Jane. Fantastic, romantic, comedic, entirely but not really faithful retelling of Jane Eyre. She sees dead people looking for love in all the wrong places.
I like that. I might read it. Are you going to read it?
I think so. This one was so fun that I'm hoping that we'll have something fun like that too.
Yeah.
It says, best friends with a ghost, Jane has endured years of hardship and misery and is ready to embark on a new life as a governess at Thornfield Hall. She's rather poor. She's rather plain. Also, she has a terrible taste in men.
Sounds really good, actually. Sounds more like thriller-ish. Like,
yeah, it says, reader, there'll be murder, mayhem, conspiracy, and of course romance. Prepare for an adventure of gothic proportions in which all is not as it seems, and a certain gentleman, Mr. Rochester, is hiding more than skeletons in his closet.
I think I might read it, actually. It sounds really intriguing now. It does. I've been really into, okay, I guess that's the term, gothic. I like gothic. I don't like horror. I don't like thriller or like suspense. Like mild thriller and suspense, you know? But like, I don't like Stephen King, horror, I can't read, but gothic, I really like gothic.
Okay, I'm gonna go run and get the other book that I'm reading right now that I was saying that was like a thriller-esque one.
Really? Okay. While we're waiting, I mostly stick with fantasy and historical. Yeah, I've really been enjoying a lot of historical fiction lately. It was never, I think I started getting into historical fiction last year, pretty hard into it. Is anybody else going to continue on with the series?
Okay. This was that Cheerleaders one by Cara Thomas. And this one has been like, it's kind of a like Pretty Little Liars-esque because it's YA, and it's got like murder and mystery and stuff. And I've been surprisingly. Oh look, on the back it says, a little bit Riverdale, and a little bit Veronica Mars. Cheerleaders is a twisty page turner that will have you doubting every character you meet and everything you think you know.
Nice. I might have to look into it.
Yeah, I was surprised. I've been pleasantly surprised.
Okay, let's see. Does anyone have any questions or any thoughts that they want to add?
Do you think it would be like a reread for you?
No.
Did you listen to it, or did you actually physically read it?
I physically read it.
So I did the audiobook with it. So I thumbed through it a little bit, but I mainly did the audiobook. And the audiobook was really, really fun because it had British accents.
Ooh. Yeah.
And so like, especially when they did the little like pull outs, like breaking the fourth wall and talking to the reader, that was really enjoyable to listen to.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So, I mean, I know it's, what would you classify this as then?
Historical fiction. Young adult historical fiction, right?
Even with Ethians, though? So is that fantasy, or is that...
No, I wouldn't say fantasy. Well,
I know, right? It's like... Haley liked Gracie, too.
Oh, yeah. I loved Gracie's character. Hannah was like, about her. But
she was entertaining, but she was kind of forgetful. And I didn't... Like I said, like, I would like her more if we got more from her, but I didn't feel like she was fully fleshed out.
So according to Goodreads, the genres that this is classified under, top being historical fiction, then fantasy, romance, and then young adult. But young adult is not a genre. It's a group of, right? Or do you consider young adult a genre? I know a lot of people like, I know that's like a huge debate. Young adult isn't necessarily a genre. It's more of a...
Oh, it's not a genre. I think it's just like if young adult is a genre, then adult would have to be genre.
Yeah.
I think it's a broader topic, and then genre is like fiction, nonfiction.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's what it's classified as, historical fiction and fantasy. But see, like it doesn't, I guess when I think fantasy, I think of like a land, like creating a new world. So
yeah. So is historical fiction just fiction then? Like what is Stalking Jack the Ripper?
What?
What's Stalking Jack the Ripper?
I consider it historical fiction.
And then it wouldn't be fantasy, it would be fiction.
Right, because there's no magic in Stalking Jack the Ripper, right? It's all science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Barnes & Noble has it classified as fantasy and adventure.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I classify it as fantasy at all.
It's very interesting. I wonder what they classify it as. Or like the authors classify it as.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's what Goodreads classifies as at. Goodreads classified it as. Yeah, and then Google says historical fiction, alternate history. It does say fantasy as well, but it comes after historical fiction. So
I feel like there's not a ton to talk about with this one. Does the edge of yours have a little weasel on there?
Yes, but I thought she's a ferret.
Is it? Oh yeah. No, that's a ferret. That's a ferret.
Okay. Did you like the first half of it better or the second half?
It definitely picked up at the end half, but I agree with you that it was a lot more predictable at the end. I think I liked the end half though, just because it did pick up.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Actually, I do. Were you shocked with Edward and like him dying, being poisoned, then his sister being in on it? Was that predictable for you?
It was a bit predictable for me. I kind of saw the whole poison thing coming because, like, why else would he be dying? Like, so
Well,
I kind
like the plague or whatever it was that they call it.
yeah, the sickness. Like, I don't know. I wasn't completely surprised that he was getting poisoned, and like how terrible his sister was. I wasn't completely surprised that she wasn't on it either. However, I really liked that his other sister like knew about it. It was already like being like, eat this, like this was safe type of thing. Like in that present moment when they were giving him presents, I did like that, and I was surprised that he had like I'm just gonna say it, like for lack of a better way to say it, that he had enough balls to be like, why don't you eat this type of thing. I
Yeah,
like that.
no, I love that. I like that a lot.
So I really enjoyed that scene. But I didn't expect his other sister to know about it. But I did kind of expect her to be in on it because she just seemed vicious from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. What I loved and I thought was so funny is, especially back then, like showing skin was very taboo. And I love how when they change back and they're like completely naked. And like just showing ankles is like,
Yes.
I just thought that was really funny, especially since Pet, how she would just change back and forth and just be like full on naked.
Yep, and just be fine with it.
Yeah. And then I love that because think about it, like back in the day, that must have been like super.
Yes. I liked that when he was like, just stand there and be confident in it or whatever when he first turned back and he was like, what do I do? Like I'm naked. And I liked like that thought process that we got from him of Edward being like, I am a king, stand here and be kingly and not be embarrassed. And
Oh, in the barn. Yes, I love that. I also loved when G turned like the morning after their wedding and that guy who's been poisoning him comes in, or his dad came in and was like, you don't want to be in here because it's going to get really smelly.
Yep.
So I really like that. I thought that was funny. I thought it was that they didn't like just magically change back with their clothes on.
Well, yeah, that would be a major plot hole there.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think there was a book that I was reading where they did that. They like changed back into like with clothes. I don't remember what it was though.
I liked it that we got to see like Jane and G kind of argue back and forth about how to treat horses and like putting down the like ground rules and stuff. Like I liked we got to see that banter and it made me really like them as a couple. And I also liked that he was not on board with the relationship either. Like I really appreciated that he wasn't just like, cool, like let's get married type of thing. Like he was also hesitant and I really liked that we got to see that perspective as well from a guy back then.
For sure. And I loved how he would call himself the horse. Like it wasn't, you will never saddle me, you won't ride me, you won't. It's like, you will never saddle the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Riding of the horse.
I really like that.
What?
I really like that too.
I thought all in all, I thought the plot was really good. I thought there were some parts where it was kind of like, it could be a little bit more, like there could have been more, like the plot itself. Like the plot was good, but the execution of the plot, I felt like was more like a 3 out of 5 stars. Like you said, it got, it was pretty predictable, but I loved the humor and that really like brought it up a notch for me.
Yes, and I liked the relationship dynamics that we saw in that too.
Yeah. Do you think that it was really insta-love?
I didn't think so. it didn't feel super insta-love to me, at least between Gifford and G, because there was such that resistance up front, and then they both like had to overcome something together, and that's what made it not insta-love for me, is they had to overcome things and like learn that they were going to be the only people that were going to be on their side, and that's what like drew them together. I really liked that aspect of it, and I like that we got to see him like he throws out that he like knows her and he's gotten to know her, like give her a book, she'll be able to like calm down, like not be anxious. And I liked we got to see that part, like when they were getting in the carriage to go back to the castle and he just like handed her a book because he knew it was going to calm her down. Like I liked that we got to see that character growth with their relationship and with him.
Yeah, I love that. Or when she's like, take out all these wardrobes, I don't need them. And they're like, well, what are you going to want? And then he comes up and he's like, she wants bookshelves.
Yes, I love that. Although we didn't really see that reciprocated. I mean, we got to see her like feed the horse, but we didn't really get to see the reciprocated of her understanding him either.
Yeah, yeah. She did get his favorite apples.
Yes.
I love that. I thought that was really funny. I thought it was also really interesting as well, how each person could control their gift differently. And also, I wonder if, like, depending on how well you can control it, how well you know what you're doing when you're in animal form. So, like, when Edward would turn, he'd say he loses all senses and he just, like, ends up flying randomly. But Gracie seemed to really know what she was doing as a fox. And so did Jane. She seemed to really know like what she was doing when she was turned as well. But G and Edward seemed to have more issues.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I wonder if it has to do like mindset wise of being able to keep your mind even though your body changed. And I wonder how their powers would have changed if we would have seen them change earlier, like as a like child, and see how much that would have changed things. Like if they changed as a kid, would they have learned to use their power more, or wouldn't they, you know? Also, I wonder why it's only one animal that they can change into.
Interesting. Yeah. I like that. Actually, that's interesting. I think going back on younger, I think so because didn't Gracie said that she changed when she was like 11, 10 or 11?
Yeah, super young.
So, and she can control, and she knows what she's doing when she's in animal form. So maybe just takes time. But then again, Jane changed right away and she already knew like she was on a mission.
Yes. So. However, she's already looked into it. Like she was already like, because she's so scholarly, maybe she had a better understanding of the process and about people in history type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Did you get a Hermione vibe every time she would like mention the book that she was reading?
Oh, totally.
I kept picturing Hermione like, I read about it in Hogwarts A History.
Yes. Thanks, Haley. I've like been obsessed with Riverdale.
I love that shirt. I need to get it.
On the back, it has.
Does it say your name?
No, but it says HBIC.
Oh, I love that.
Because it's what Cheryl's shirt says in Riverdale, and HBIC stands for Head Bitch in Charge.
I like that. So funny. I'm trying to think. Did you feel like this read pretty quickly? Like you got through it pretty fast? Like
once I got into it, it like I flew through it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the not being a fantasy fully, because you're not wrapping your head around a different world. Mm-hmm. It's just one aspect that's different.
Oh, for sure. I flew through.
Do you think that's considered magical realism?
It could be. Is magical realism fantasy?
I don't know if it's considered fantasy. Well, it's got to be because like there's aspects of it that's I don't know.
I
But
guess,
I bet you that's what this is. I'm looking at the definition of magical realism.
I guess fantasy technically has magic, like fantasy elements. So I guess this could be fantasy. It does have magic. If there was no magic, then I guess it would just be historical fiction.
Realistic narrative and naturalistic techniques are combined with the surreal element of dream or fantasy. So this is magical realism.
Okay. Which I know is like one of your favorite genres.
Yes, it is. There's very few books out there that I've like, they're hard to find, but I really enjoy them.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think of her mom?
Oh yeah, terrible.
She's awful. So bad.
I really wish that we would have gotten to see Edward's father like turn into a lion. Like I just would have liked to see that, like what type of king he was. That's why if we would have seen them, you know, first discover their gifts when they were younger, how entertaining they could have worked that in, and like could have watched his father, you know, turn into a lion and kill people, and you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And that could have been explained to that he didn't want to be that. He didn't want the throne because he saw what his father did with the throne type of thing. They could have worked it in that way.
Yeah. Can I say, so was his father like a good king or a bad king? Because I was getting like throne of glass, cruel king vibes.
I was getting that too. More of like a dictatorship type of thing, not like a loved king.
The only reason he changed the law is because he ended up being an Ethian, so he had to change the law.
Was that the only reason? Did it say that?
I thought so.
I might have missed that. It's been a while. I mean, I read it at the beginning of the month. So.
Yeah, because he was already king when he turned into an Ethian. He turned into a lion, like, in the middle of the throne room. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. That makes sense then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So can I say that his sister Beth, like her getting queen, was that predictable for you at all?
So predictable.
What?
So predictable.
And that ended up being Queen Elizabeth? Like Queen Elizabeth I?
Wait, what?
Yeah. Like,
what? Yeah. I totally missed that.
I know.
Did it actually say that in there?
Man. Yeah, Beth is her real name is Elizabeth.
Oh shit, I totally missed that. Like I got like the character would be it, but I didn't connect of who would actually be in real life.
Page 472. I'm not sure if it's the same in your book, but it says long live Queen Elizabeth when she gets crowned. Long live the queen, long live Queen Elizabeth.
Huh.
It's like it's chapter 28. It's like at the very end of chapter 28.
Yeah, I found it. I guess I like went through that, but I'm guessing like that just didn't click for me. Like of it being the real person. I was so wrapped up in actually the story that I didn't really connect to it being a real person.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Beth was gonna be like, I thought that was really predictable because Edward just kept saying how he doesn't want to be king. He doesn't want to be king. I was like, oh, he's definitely gonna abdicate his throne. But then, like, it never when they like when she had her coronation and they said long live Queen Elizabeth, I was like, what? Okay.
So before we wrap this up, I wanted to say again that we are doing a study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, and this is going to be our Muggle Studies book club for next month. It's like a Sherlock Holmes stalking Jack the Ripper vibes, except it's gender bent. So the girl in this is girl is going to be the Holmes part of Watson and Holmes.
Is Watson a guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so just Sherlock Holmes is girl.
The last thing Jamie Watson wants is a rugby scholarship to Sharing-Ford, a Connecticut prep school just an hour away from his estranged father. But that's not the only complication. Sharing-Ford is also home to Charlotte Holmes, the famous detective's great-great-great-granddaughter, who has inherited not only Sherlock's genius, but also his volatile temperament. From the moment they know there's a tense energy between them, and they seem more destined to be rivals than anything else. But when a Sharing-Ford student dies under suspicious circumstances, ripped straight from the most terrifying of the Sherlock Holmes stories, Jamie can no longer afford to keep his distance. Jamie and Charlotte are being framed for murder. Equal parts tender, thrilling, and hilarious, A Study in Charlotte is the first in a trilogy brimming with wit, edge of deceit, suspense.
Oh my God, I'm so excited now. I really thought it was like a novella. I thought it was like a contemporary, adult contemporary novella. That's what I thought it was. I had no idea it was like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's only 321 pages.
Oh yeah, that's short.
I'm pretty excited for that one.
Yeah, me too.
So do we have any other thoughts on My Lady Jane before we wrap this up? I think there's not a ton to talk about if like it was just like an enjoyable read. It wasn't like one that was gonna necessarily, I think, stick with you, but it was fun.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's a solid 4. Like I won't reread it, but I will recommend it.
Yes. So if you all want to stay with us, we will start our next live show for the Golden Lily soon in a few minutes.
I'm so excited.
So we will see you all in a little bit.